Thank you. Member for Woodridge. I call the member for Everton.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, last week we saw the 5th-year anniversary of the Palaszczuk government. And if we were to deliver a report card on that government, it would be fail, fail, fail and fail, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, let's look at the different subjects. First, we have the economy, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, as the opposition leader has already said, over the term of this Palaszczuk government, we have had the highest unemployment rate in the country, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, disgracefully, we have the highest number of people on the long-term unemployment list, not per capita, but the highest number. In the last year, Mr Deputy Speaker, we have had the highest number of bankruptcies in the country, not per capita, on pure numbers, Mr Deputy Speaker. So when it comes to the economy, they have failed. Mr Deputy Speaker, when it comes to health, our surgical waiting lists, Mr Deputy Speaker, have blown out by 86% under the Labor Palaszczuk government. Ambulance ramping has become rampant under the Palaszczuk government, increasing by 73%, Mr Deputy Speaker. The number of Queenslanders on the dental waiting list has increased by 26.6% in the past 12 months, Mr Deputy Speaker. When it comes to health, it is fail once again, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, let's go to education, Mr Deputy Speaker. Over the last 5 years, almost half of all Queensland schools have slipped backwards, Mr Deputy Speaker. We look at the NAPLAN results in Year 5, comparing 2015 to 2019, show that 531 of the 1,120 schools have slipped backwards, the biggest decline being 16.8%. Mr Deputy Speaker, when it comes to education, it is fail. Mr Deputy Speaker, when it comes to crime, law and order, it is mayhem in North Queensland and Townsville. It's mayhem on the Gold Coast, Mr Deputy Speaker, and the crime situation in the north of Brisbane is also out of control. And what is their solution? Their solution is to change some police administrative positions at the top. What needs to be changed is not policing, Mr Deputy Speaker, because our police do a great job. What needs to be changed is the law. It's only when the law is changed that we'll have some sort of consequences for these youth offenders, Mr Deputy Speaker. So when it comes to crime and law and order, it's fail once again. When it comes to public housing, Mr Deputy Speaker, when I was Minister, we reduced the public housing waiting list from 32,000, Mr Deputy Speaker, to 16,500. That's now slipped back out to 24,000 under this minister, who claims he cares for those that are disadvantaged, and he's made it harder for them, Mr Deputy Speaker, and put more out on the homeless list. So when it comes to public housing, it's failed. Mr Deputy Speaker, why do we have this situation? We have this situation because this government is fixated on itself and has so many troubles that they are totally focused on working out their internal divisions rather than focusing on Queensland people, Mr Deputy Speaker. And that's been no more apparent than this last couple of weeks, where the Deputy Premier has dismissed this internal division as gossip. That is despite reporters telling everybody that backbenchers are ringing them directly. Allegedly, the member for Maryborough said he has had enough, Mr Deputy Speaker. The Minister for Tourism was asked for comment about the Deputy Premier. She was suddenly unavailable, wouldn't come out and endorse her, Mr Deputy Speaker. And, Mr Deputy Speaker, they denied that they were having a leadership powwow between the senior members of the ministry, with who, of course? The union heads. The heads of unions are involved in their strategic meetings because the unions run the Labor Party. But that wasn't going to happen, Mr Deputy Speaker. But of course it happened, and pictures leaked out of at that meeting, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, but there is one member of the Labor Party that has stood up to this bullying, Mr Deputy Speaker, and that is the member for Bundamba. She stood up to the corruption claims in Ipswich, the Labor council there, for year after year after year. She told this side of the government that council was corrupt, and they ignored her. And now she has had the courage to come out once again, because she now has nothing to lose. Every other member over there has not been pre-selected so that they can keep them in tow. But the member for Bundamba's got the courage because she has got nothing to lose, and she has called this government out for what they are. They are bullies, Mr Deputy Speaker, and they use strong-arm tactics to keep people under order. They are in disarray, Mr Deputy Speaker. They are out of control. Nobody has seen this disunity in a government, particularly a Labor government, ever. And now they are unfit to govern, Mr Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
Order.
Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, members.